Hi, I'm Frank, back in the kitchen, and today we're reviewing a coffee maker. This time it's the Cuisinart DGB 800. It's a burr, grind, and brew 12-cup coffee maker. It's not cheap, but we're going to find out whether or not it's worth the price you pay. We've gone through a lot of coffee makers in this kitchen. We've had Keurigs, we've had Mr. Coffees, we have had we actually do have a big espresso machine, but very rarely use it. It's mostly when we have some special guests over who want cappuccinos or lattes or something. So we needed a good coffee maker, something that would make really good coffee, and we wanted it from beans this time rather than from just ground coffee. As you know, ground coffee goes bad rather quickly. All right, let's get into it. So the unit comes really well boxed. It's a very nice system. It comes with a charcoal filter as well that fits into the water tank. This little filter here actually is, the instructions say to soak it for 15 minutes before first use in just some cold water. We've done that, and then we've put it into this receiver, and just snaps, and it just goes in the back of the water the water tank, and it fits in there. It's secure in there as well. So we've done the other thing that it asks us to do, and that is that we've run one full thing of water. We did not use the really nice gold fine mesh reusable filter for that run, just in case there was something in the system that might be, I don't know, get stuck in here or whatever. So we used a standard paper filter. We've run that through. The water looked clear. We're done with that now. So we can now go back to our new gold filter, and this is very simple. Just closes on the top and it locks in place when you press it. It's click click. So it's time to see how this thing works. We're going to take off this top. This is nice because it seals around the rim, which means that there's no moisture, no air, and when you're using beans, it keeps them relatively fresh. We have some Sam's bought French roast beans because I couldn't find the beans I really wanted, and it's just a matter of filling this to a little bit. There's our beans in there, and I tell you, this is the first run that we've done with this machine, so we're all going to share this together. And then this just goes back on top, and it locks in place, and it closes and seals very nicely. From here, we have an on and off switch. The on switch comes on, and because we're going to be grinding, if you're running just water or you're doing ground beans, which this is also capable of, you can just push this grind off button and use a paper, or you don't even have to use a paper filter, but you can use just regular ground coffee in the hopper and it will grind. But we want to grind this time. When you first turn it on, of course, you've set the time, which we've already done, and you have the opportunity to set the number of cups that you are brewing. Because we're going to be filling this with a full 12-cup load, we set that to 12. And then on the strength, we just can start with a mild, a medium, and a strong brew. I happen to like very strong brews, so let's see how that works. I've got cold water in here. All we're going to do is fill the tank. It's a full 12 cups. Now, I will tell you that in playing with this initially, the one thing that I'm not really all that excited about is the top of this carafe. Most places, as you know, the carafe lifts up on a lever. This one has these little indentations, and it just comes off completely. I'm not sure I'm all big on that, because when you put it back on, you have to make sure it snaps in place, but we'll probably get used to it. All right, so we've got the water tank filled, we've got our beans in here, we've got our grind set and the number of cups of coffee that we're going to brew. This little button in the middle of the cup setting is where we start it, and we're going to start it right now. Let's listen and see how this sounds. Remember, it's filling what would normally be the filter pot with the right amount of ground coffee now to brew. So let's see when it stops here. Finally. I guess it's the heavy strength that caused that. And now it's going to start running through. So we'll just let it go here for a minute. I'm going to stop the video at this point. I'll come right back to you in the next second. It's already brewing, and we'll see how it does. And we'll test it and see how easy the gold filter unit is able to clean real easy. All right, we'll be back in just a sec. All right, well, it's done, and we timed it from the time it started actually brewing through the filter. It took 7 minutes and 15 seconds to completely fill our 12-cup pot. A couple things before we test our coffee. There is a warming capability on this system. I hate some of the coffee makers that we've had that shut off after 15 or 20 minutes, and you still have half a pot and you want to keep it warm, and you come back and want to get a cup of coffee and it's lukewarm, if that. This one can be set up to 4 hours of warm time, so that is an easy programmable feature of the coffee maker. It comes set as its standard at 2 hours, but it can be extended up to 4 hours. Additionally, there are instructions in the manual for how to clean this thing and decalcify it. This is very important to us here because the water we happen to have in the house here is got some heavy amounts of calcium, so things build up in a hurry. We'll probably clean this a little more often than you would normally with really good clean water. And you do get a clean notice on here. You'll get a flashing light that says it's cleaning time. It's done with vinegar, half and half with water. That's a run through. You take out the filter, run it through, and it should be good to go. The other side of this is that you can pull the carafe out during the brew if you got to have that first cup of coffee before it's done, and it will stop. You can do that for up to 20 seconds with this unit and get your coffee, put it back in, and it'll continue to brew. All right, well, it's time. Let's give it a shot. Just see what it looks like. We got some really nice looking coffee. Nice and dark. It's just what I wanted. It looks pretty strong and smells good. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that is good coffee, and I mean that sincerely, all honesty. This is really good coffee. I used my other coffee maker this morning and just kind of digging it just to get the caffeine rush, but this is awesome. This is going to be fantastic. I love this. All right, well, we're pretty much done. I got to give this a big thumbs up. This is going to be our standard coffee maker on the counter now, I think, for some time. I have no regrets about this at all. Again, the only little tiny thing that I didn't like was the way that the carafe lid comes off, but my gosh, that's not a big deal at all. You're not going to use it that often like that. It makes it easier to fill the carafe with water with it off, but who knows. So check it out. It's great. Take care.
Here's a short video review of the Cuisinart DGB 800 grind and brew coffee maker. Overall, it's a pretty good machine, but it's not without its quirks. So let me run it through real quick for you, and then I'll mention the quirks. Obviously, this is your basket for grounds. You can put pre-ground coffee in here, or most people probably will use grind and brew since that's the main focus of the pot, but people do use pre-ground coffee sometimes. You flip the lid closed, and then you close the basket. Okay, so that's closed. Now, this is the top here where your hopper is for your beans. They say it holds about a ½ pound of beans. We ground coffee yesterday morning. I'd say you probably get one more grind of coffee beans before you'd have to refill it. Here's the front of the machine. The time is already set. We did all that, set the time, set the program time, and we also set the time for the pot to remain on from 2 hours to 3 hours. All this is in the owner's manual, which isn't the greatest, but it's workable. You just have to kind of work through it. Strength is set. All right, so now the pot's in standby mode. To get it into anything other than standby mode, you press the on-off button. Now this allows you to do anything. Here I can change my strength, go to full strength, go back down. We prefer it right about medium strength. You turn this is your grind control for how many cups you're gonna make, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's that. And then you would use another combination of the program button in order to get to your program time, to set your program time and also to set your remain on time after the pot has run the brewing. Okay, so now what I would do, I'm just going to shut this off real quick here, get it back to the time. Now, what you're supposed to be able to do with this is set it up on program. During the week here in our house, we normally use pre-ground coffee during the week, and we save our bean grinding for the weekend as a special treat. So for us, we use the program feature every day with grind off. So here's how you're supposed to do that. Put the pot on, say, okay, I want to be grind off, and then I want it to be program. Okay, there's my auto on program time of 5:20. Now, it all seems very nice and good, perfect. Now let's come back to the regular time of day. But unfortunately, in probably about 60 seconds, you'll see this go off. It'll go back into standby mode. Presumably that it's set for grind off and program. What happens though is when the program comes on in the morning, it forgets that I told it to grind off. And if I've got beans down, or pre-ground coffee down here in this basket, now it starts grinding beans and now I got a mess. So went back to the company and where I bought it here at Amazon, and they contacted Cuisinart, and Cuisinart said, oh no, just replace it. So obviously it's a known issue that the grind off feature does not work with program. Sent me a second machine. Second machine unfortunately had the same date code 3518 as the first unit that I got, and guess what? The second pot does the same thing. You can't use grind off on program. Pretty disappointing to us, but rather than trying to get a third pot and probably having the same problem, because that's probably the lot that Amazon got, we negotiated with Amazon for a discount on this pot and said we'd keep the pot and we'll just manually turn it on during the week. It's not that big of a deal. Let me turn this all off for you. All you would do is turn this off. Let's see now if I can get this to go off. Yeah, auto off. Okay. Well, all you would do in the morning when you get up is hit on off, grind off, and press brew. Not the end of the world. Actually, what you can do the night before is do the on off, grind off. It'll go into standby mode. Then in the morning when you get up, all you do is hit the on off again, hit the brew, and it's on. You can skip the step of hitting grind off. Is it a little inconvenient? Yeah, it is, but you know what? It's okay, because when it does grind, it grinds great. It makes great coffee. And I really didn't feel like going through the aggravation of a third pot and having the same thing be wrong with it. So the only other option would have been to return it for a refund and try to buy it somewhere else and hope that the next date code I got worked. So obviously it's a known issue with Cuisinart, so you just take your chances knowing that. If that's a big deal to you, then it might be an issue. If it's not a big deal to you, then have at it. It's a good coffee pot. So thanks for watching. I hope I was able to help.
No contact practice for football is really helpful. No headbutting in soccer. So just maybe changing the way we play the game can really improve people's long-term safety and health outcomes.
And then I would imagine as someone that works at the Brain Care Center that you always recommend helmets, whether it's on a bike or on a scooter. That's popular in the summer.
Yes, please wear a helmet.
The pot is set for 4 cups, as you can see up top. It's now up to 7 cups, and it's still brewing.